Yeah, some of them I'll be like, oh, and we have like a cute baby photo here, and then sometimes like whenever we start talking about like her religion and everything like that, you can just show the photos. There's like two there of
My
her headscarf, and then right after that we have her logo for her Facebook page. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Yeah. And then did you get like the little like the song intro or no? If you want to just look up 24 Karat Magic. I love that song.
I've never heard it.
You haven't?
No.
From Bruno Mars?
Oh yes, he
I
did
love
it for
that.
Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Yeah. And then like 21 seconds in. Oh, there's an ad.
At Nature Valley, we know that you have to put good in here.
This side, I'm not hosting today. I'm being interviewed by Mr. Dakota T. Jones on my life and my career and my religion, you guys.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
The other one didn't load, that's why I had to do it again.
Yeah, can you hear yourself?
Yes, I can
Okay,
hear
cool.
her. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, so you're like there's going to be like a little thing beforehand? Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Let me just make sure I got my intro real quick. Yes. All right, cool. I'm good.
I'm the same way.
I'm like, I gotta like
I'll
make
literally
sure.
make it a sentence or two and still like
And
not
forget.
yeah, still not be able to like make it flow naturally.
What's that? Okay. Got it. Music, art, wisdom, and religion. Make sure you stay tuned. This is the very first episode of Millennials in Hollywood here on Popcorn Talk.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Players, put your pinky rings up to the moon. Girls,
Love it. And the only time I heard it was on Victoria's Secret's fashion show,
okay,
and he
yeah.
killed it. And I was like, I have never heard this, but I just love the energy
I
of it.
know.
You know, it kind of takes you back to like the 90s.
I know, I am obsessed with it.
Yes.
But you guys, we are here for the very first episode of Millennials in Hollywood on Popcorn Talk. You guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Mr. Dakota T. Jones. And our very special guest, a young woman who's discovered her love for entertainment while performing at her grandmother's banquets.
Yay.
Someone who's made it to the top 250 singers at the 2013 LA X Factor auditions. Very
Aw,
cool.
thank you.
And someone who's even modeled for Miss Tyra Banks.
Oh,
We have
thank
Kalima.
you. That's such a great intro.
Thank you.
It's so funny because, like, you know, I just feel like when you're going after your dreams, I don't like count everything. I'm just like, great, I got this. You know, it's like bucket list, but
Yeah.
like to hear it all like together, like, oh gosh, that's
I
so
know,
awesome.
that's
Thank
so
you.
cool. Yeah, of course. You're like so awesome. You're one of my friends. I love you so
Yes,
much.
and I love you too. Thank you for even having me. I'm so happy.
Of course. We for those of you who don't know, we've done a few after shows together.
Yeah.
We have so much fun doing awesome things. But let's kind of get into it. Let's kind of break down your username. Where can everyone find you on social media?
So you guys can find me absolutely everywhere at Kalima Music Art Wisdom. I just say Google it. You'll find my Twitter. My Twitter specifically is Lima Wisdom ENT, but it's the hub. Kalima
Yes.
Music Art Wisdom. Yeah.
Awesome. And I love the username, and I kind of want to start breaking it down a little bit. We'll start with music and art.
Okay.
Like I said, you got your start singing at your grandmother's banquets and events. How was that as a child?
It was, you know what? Unfortunately, my grandma passed away when I was 16, so it was short-lived. Yeah, but I think growing up, just being around, I didn't realize that me being so creative today had anything to do with I just thought it was a knack that I had, but as I grow up, I'm like, oh my goodness, my grandmother sang. Oh my goodness, my grandmother did fashion design, and she was actually the first person to ever give me her platform. She was a fashion designer, and her label was Shahid's African and Islamic Wear, where she specifically, she specifically made clothes with real authentic African materials, but it was modest, which in Islam it's very it's the tradition to even down to your ankles, you're supposed to cover your, pretty much literally covering but still being able to be fashionable. And she tried to create something where women couldn't feel good about the way that they look, but still being able to be modest.
That is so
cool. And I still try to emulate that today, but it is different times, it's modern times, so I've got my own little spin on it, but she's definitely a big inspiration when it comes to, for me, for fashion, for music, for art.
Awesome.
So
that's amazing. We have this beautiful little picture of you here. Was that like when you were first time performing?
So that was my first time, yes, because at her fashion shows, it wasn't until I was 10 years old that she allowed me to sing for her fashion shows, but the fashion show / banquet, this was my first time walking the runway.
Wow.
I think I was like 2 years old.
Oh my goodness, and look how cute you are. That is so cute. That's one of those photos that you just want to like frame
it's
and
just
like keep,
unbelievable,
because it's like this is the start of like you wanting to be in the entertainment industry. It's so
funny
exciting.
when I literally when they said, oh, you'll need some photos, I was like, let me call my mom back in Florida and see. And she sent me these pictures, and I was just like, it's so crazy how time flies. And it's like, wow, like it was inside of me even at this young age.
I know. And look, you're just beaming. You're just so excited to be there. It's so cute.
Thank you.
Like go forward a few years. It's a few years later, but made it to the top 250 singers at the 2013 LA X Factor auditions. Like, how was that? Because I'm a big fan of the show. Ooh. What was it like performing in front of the executive producers? I know you. Yeah.
It was amazing. So it was 17,000 people who auditioned, 2 days of auditioning, 12 hours per day, literally sitting, waiting for them to call my number. Now, this specifically was from Home Shopping Network with Tyra Banks.
Yes.
But with X Factor, it was awesome because I'm literally coming from Florida, like just trying to find some sort of in to get to LA.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that I was literally surrounded in an arena, not a room, arena full of talented singers. And for me, my favorite quote is, your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
So I loved meeting and, networking with these people and just finding out, oh my goodness, like literally, it's so LA where you just talk to someone and then you find out they have literally 20 million views, 20,000 followers, just big platforms. And it's like, wow, like I'm in the same room as these people. So it was so great, and I didn't expect me to get as far as I did, but the very, very last round for the auditions before they chose who would make it to the show was the top 250, and I got the yellow slip, and I still have all of my slips from all of the rounds, but it was great, and I still am friends with the people that made it to the last round with me, too.
So awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment.
Definitely. Definitely, with how many people showed up to that, that's huge. That's
crazy.
amazing.
It's even crazy to think about. I remember just being so tired because you're sitting around all day, and then you got to go into a room and give it like you just walked, like you just showed up and you just came from rehearsals. You gotta. It's only one first impression. So,
what did you sing?
I sang Adele, Right as Rain.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's awesome. I think I've seen a cover
Yeah,
of
that's
yours
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It is on YouTube, so you guys can go see it. But yeah, I remember I went, and the producers, before I got to the executive, the last round, they were like, because they said choose an upbeat song, choose a slow song, and they kind of tell you what they think you should audition with the next song. So the one that got me all the way to the end was Adele, Right as Rain. Yeah.
Such a great song.
Yes,
Such a great
I love
song.
that
yes.
song.
And you do a lot of covers, and you do some self self-written music as well.
Absolutely.
So what kind of inspires you to write music? What do you look for whenever you want to make music?
So when I was 10 years old, I wrote my first song called I'm Thankful, which my grandma allowed me to sing at 10 years old at one of her banquets. But I just always was a very communicative person. That's why I went to school for journalism, and now I'm a host here at AfterBuzz TV. But so for me, it was very natural to start with poems because I didn't have any music to sing to, so I just would make poems. But then I just remember one day, oh my goodness, it's so crazy to think about, but I was listening to Michael Jackson's Childhood, which is probably one of my favorite songs by him.
Yeah.
And me and my sister, for some reason, were, playing, how you just play as kids and you make palettes on the floor, but then you
Yes.
fall asleep. Me and my sister, we fell asleep. I woke up before her, and I just remember being like, I'm going to sing. I'm going to write a poem, but I'm going to make it into a song. And so ever since then, I started writing songs. But Lauren, I do remember at 2 years old, I was in my mom's red van, my parents' red van in the back, and one of Lauryn Hill's songs came on, and I remember the feeling that I got from listening to the way that she sang but still told a story.
Yeah.
But it really I'm 2 years old, but I felt like I was being taken into her world,
Right.
She was, I think the video of it, I don't know, I guess maybe just in my mind I pictured her in a big city, and I just remembered the feeling that I got from the way that the music from Michael Jackson to Lauryn Hill have me feel, and I loved that feeling, and I always wanted to chase it, and so I think I just started writing.
That's awesome. That is so cool. It's kind of hard for those of you who have ever tried writing music. It is very kind of hard. I mean, sometimes once you get into it, it's easy. You just start, letting go, and it's amazing. But when you're first starting, it's kind of hard to just get into it and
Absolutely.
find your way and what your voice is and what you want to convey. But yeah, whenever you hear it on the radio, or like any kind of song on the radio that takes you to some place,
Absolutely.
it's just so worth it. That feeling after
Absolutely. And it's so crazy that you say that, because I feel like even for me, like starting out writing, I used to write songs all the time, but then you go to middle school, you know how it is, high school, you get all these distractions from kids who don't have the same vision as you, don't have the same dreams. So, and also this is another really lovely quote that I like. It's, artists, they expose their wounds while still trying to, cure them, still trying to take care of their wounds. So I'm literally writing out my heart, going through, grieving that emotion, while still trying to make art out of it, So I think because middle school was really hard for me, high school was really hard for me, just making friends and feeling like people understood me. So I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to feel the pain. So I took a lot of time, I stopped writing until, I would say until late high school, early college days, and then I got back into it. But yes, it's very true. It's hard to stick with it when you know that you're pretty much putting your own life out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Writing is very vulnerable.
It
It's just
is.
a very vulnerable thing.
Yeah.
Now let's get into some of the art side. You do a lot of photography, which I have seen just through your Snapchats and all that kind of stuff.
Yay.
That's like a very big passion of yours, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to be a contributing writer for University of South Florida, St. Petersburg's newspaper. And then they were like, well, we already have enough writers. Would you be interested in being the photographer? And I was like, well, I love like Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, sure, whatever. I feel like I have really good vision anyway, as far as, I'm a visual person. So I went into it, took a photojournalism class where they actually, you were supposed to buy your own camera for this class, and it had to be a DSLR. I'm like, who has that money?
Right?
Yeah. So someone was able to give it to me, let me borrow it
Wow.
for the class. Couldn't believe it. Oh, that's actually what it was. It was because I was with the newspaper. They had standby cameras for the photographer,
Wow,
for the
that's
photojournalism.
cool. Yeah.
I just realized that. Yeah, so that's how I actually was able to get the camera for that class. And I was literally learning at the same time while being creative with my own photography. So I was learning about my camera while, exploring myself.
Right.
And that's really how I got into it. And ever since then, I mean, every time I go to Florida, visit my family, they're always like, okay, we'll take photos while you're here
That's
because it's
awesome.
memories, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really love it. Really, really love photography. Yeah.
Photography is so much fun. I'm really into the Instax right now. I brought my camera so we can take a
Oh,
photo
yay,
later.
okay.
But yeah, I'm so into photography.
Yeah.
I know you're also very into acting as well as singing and modeling.
Yeah.
And you've actually got to model for Tyra Banks,
Yes,
which is
yes,
amazing. We have a
yes.
photo here.
Yes.
Walk us through how that happened.
Oh my goodness. So I have a talent agent in Florida, Ben's Model and Talent. They really got me my biggest work in this industry for sure. My first talent agent ever. And I just, and I really, really say this in the sense of like, I totally was just submitting for things. Why not submit for Tyra Banks? I submitted for it.
Right.
And I got the call, and she was, my agent was like, Halima, Tyra wants you. Like, she handpicked, and most of the time, if there's a client that they work with, the client, whether it's because it was for her makeup brand Tyra Beauty, usually there's an executive or someone else that's picking the models, doing the marketing company
Right.
for her doing it. But she's very involved with all of the things that she does, as you can imagine with America's Next Top Model. She's
Yeah.
very, very involved with all of her projects. And so, yeah, I was blown away, very, very, very grateful. I remember calling my dad and he started crying. My
That's
dad does not
amazing.
cry. He was like, I'm so proud of you, Khalima. I was like, thank you for me. And it's crazy. I was in class and I remember it was one of those college classes where you pretty much just get an A to show up to
Right,
class and
yeah.
listen. So I just remember hanging up because I had to pick up my agent's phone call.
Right.
So I picked it up. I'm like, hello. She's like, they want you. Can you do it? I said, I can still do it. Hung up,
Wow.
and I just go right back to class because it really, truly is just, that was the life. Like that is my life, you know,
Yeah.
submitting for jobs, and you book some, you don't book some. And the one that the universe, God allowed me to book
Yeah.
was Tyra Banks. And
That's amazing.
it was an awesome experience too. She's extremely sweet. She's so funny.
That's what I was going to ask you.
She's so
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, she's awesome. And I mean, this photo, I was so nervous.
Yeah.
She's so tall, and
Yeah.
she's absolutely gorgeous. One of the movies that, the movie that Super Size Me.
Yes.
Obsessed with that movie growing up, and her character was a live doll. Legit, when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, you're literally like a beautiful
She's
doll.
gorgeous,
Like
yeah.
she's gorgeous.
That's
yeah.
what I was going to ask, is if she was as nice in person as she seems. Because
Oh my goodness.
some people think that she's like a diva or this or that, but she just seems so nice and so genuine.
She's so nice and she's so genuine, and it sucks because I modeled for her. She only did 3 shows,
Mm-hmm.
and so usually with Home Shopping Network, which I've worked with as a model for a couple of years, about maybe 3 to 4 years, usually if you book with a specific brand, they'll continue to use you as the model instead of casting for a new model every
Yeah.
time they have a show. So she only did 3 shows, which still, it was so awesome to still be in the same room with her and
Yeah.
have her familiar with my face and that sort of thing. But she is really, really big. So she had her green room. We go on set. We're very professional. She goes to her green room. But that's just because everybody wanted to take a photo with her.
Yeah.
But I'm very, very grateful. Yeah.
That's
it was
amazing.
awesome.
That is so cool. Ever since I've seen that photo on your Instagram, I'm like, I've got to ask her about how that
Yay!
happened, because that's just amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. And it's so great because I was like, I've thought about America's Next Top Model, but I'm like, I like modeling, but I prefer commercial modeling. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see myself as a supermodel because I love to eat, and I'm not really, I love my shape just naturally, so I'm just like, I don't want to feel pressured
Right.
with the norms of the industry.
Exactly.
So it's amazing how God still allowed me to work with Tyra, but not with America's Next Top Model.
Right.
It's amazing how you think, oh, this is the only way I'll ever be able to see Tyra, but it's like, no, like there are other ways. So for me, it was such a blessing, and it just goes to show, like, just put your foot in front of the other and you'll see where you end up.
Exactly.
It's not always going to be our own plan.
Right.
Sometimes our own plan isn't the best plan. So.
Exactly. That's an awesome story. That's really
Yay,
cool.
thank
Now
you.
let's kind of get into the wisdom side. We've got a lot of big topics to discuss.
I'm so excited.
So before we start, I've talked to you about this before, but I just want everyone to know that this is all coming from a very loving place.
Yes.
I'm a Christian.
Yes.
And you're a Muslim.
Yes.
And we're sitting down having a conversation, and it's possible, guys. Like, let me tell you, it's
Yeah,
possible.
yeah.
So I just want to say, first of all, I love you so much, and thank you for being
Of
open
course.
to talk about this.
No, absolutely. And thank
Yeah.
you so much for even having me here. And
Yeah.
I'm really excited. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So right now, what is it like being a Muslim living in America at the current moment of everything that's going on right now?
All right, that's a serious question. So let me really take that in. What
Yeah.
is it like being a Muslim, I feel like the first word that comes to my mind is truly just misunderstood.
Yeah.
I think that, excuse me, I'm a living example of what a Muslim is, but still the news, the media, and when we say media, media literally means television, radio. It's movies is considered media. The media has stereotyped one sort of religion, which it's unfair because you're a Christian,
Right.
but when you walk around, you technically could be Buddhist.
Yeah.
You don't look like, what is the look of a Christian? You know,
Right, exactly.
what is the look of a Muslim? I cover sometimes, for the most part, it's, fashionable things like how you see me right now.
Right.
Except when I go to prayer, I definitely cover fully, but I am not the stereotypical, which, let's be real, stereotypical is it's fake. It's a way that we can put you all in a box and put you under a label. So for me, it really and truly is misunderstood. The only difference is I'm not Arab. So to be very honest with you, and to kind of help and educate you guys, unfortunately, Arabs have it harder because they fit that stereotype.
Yeah.
You don't look at me and you don't think Muslim.
Right.
You just see a black girl with a scarf on her head, and then I tell you I'm Muslim. I mean, even Arabs sometimes they're like, "Oh, you're Muslim," because they've even bought into the stereotype where there aren't even black Muslims,
Yeah, that's
and it's
very
like,
sad.
yes, I was born Muslim. It wasn't even like a converting sort of
Right.
situation. So. Yeah, I think just misunderstood overall,
Yeah.
for sure.
So you were raised Muslim.
Totally, yeah,
So
born
your,
and raised.
Your family, your parents, everyone.
Right, so
Yeah.
my dad was 17 when he converted. My mom was 12 when she converted. And then my dad met my mom when she was 20 and they got married. But then I was born Muslim, so.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And we have some beautiful photos of you in your headscarf. I know that.
Yay.
Oh, that is so pretty.
Yeah.
Where were you in this photo?
So this is at my house back
wow.
in Florida. Yes.
And then the next one, I love this next photo because it's like the shot of the three, and you're just like serving.
Oh my gosh, thank you
Space.
so much. Yeah. So that jacket, it's actually like it was a dress originally from like the 60s, and that my mom just hoarded and kept, and I loved the color, and I had this leopard scarf with the same pink tip at the end, and I had nothing to wear. I was like, I have nothing to match this pink. Like, the only thing I have is my mom's old dress here, and so I took it to my Uncle Red, who has literally built designed clothes out of his room, no training at all, literally built suits. And he, I told him I sketched out what I wanted, and he sketched this out. And I think it's kind of going back to my grandmother, just being inspired with showing modesty,
Yeah.
but still being able to be fashionable.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, I really, really love this.
I know,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, being fashionable is not just like okay, well, I got to wear something scandalous. Like,
Exactly,
there are times
yeah.
for that, I guess.
Absolutely.
Everyone loves to do that. But I love how you can be so modest and so beautiful and elegant, and just, I think that shows a lot about a person as well, being able to do that and be modest.
Thank you so much.
So,
yes.
I love that. And then also you run a Facebook page called Islam Daily. How did that come about?
Oh my goodness. So basically, I just was getting, I feel like, I don't know, maybe most people, maybe not. I felt like as a child, you just raised, my parents, this is the religion that my parents practice, so I'm going to practice it. But then as I got older, I had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And I wanted to learn more about it, and ended up doing some research myself, and started to get really into the quotes from the Quran, but started also to listen to more lectures on like a preacher, which we call an imam, just lectures online on YouTube with people preaching and teaching the religion. And so I got a lot of quotes that I just loved, and I was posting it more so on my page, but I said, this is so inspirational. I want to be able to provide a platform for anyone to be able to go and look at, and find wisdom for the day. We have Monday motivation. Why not have a daily motivation?
Yeah.
But with the hub of Islam, based on Islam, but something that could be relatable to anyone, to even an atheist, So that's really where it came from, just wanting to continue to share a lot more, whether it be news, whether it be quotes, whether it be music, but just under just sort of for the modern day Muslim who's
Yeah.
like, I don't really know too much about the religion. I was just born this way, but what's something that as I'm scrolling down my timeline, I can just get a little quote that'll
Yeah.
educate me, make me be able to make it through the day. And that's really where it came from.
That's cool. I love how you're very much into making like a hub for different things. You know, like
so
you have
funny.
you have like a whole area where you can go and do this, and then you have like a whole
Yeah.
area where everyone can keep up with you on this and this, and all your usernames are pretty much the same.
my gosh,
like
thank
it's very
you.
organized, and
That's
I
so
love that
funny.
you have that and all those inspirational quotes, and just you just seem to kind of like radiate positivity, which is
Yes,
super
thank
important
you so
for people.
much.
Yes,
Yeah,
of
that's
course.
truly, honestly and truly, that's just my thing. I've always said is I knew that, you know, especially in this industry, they're going to label you. You have to have a brand, and I said I don't want to be the person who's just kind of walking blindly with an agent who tells you need this or a manager who tells you need this. Like, I wanted to know my brand so I know what the focus was.
Yeah.
And so I said for sure, I would not be able to make my family proud unless it had to do with, you know, trying to be a public figure of positivity.
Yeah.
So from the inception of me with this dream, I said, I've got to figure out a way to Kalima music, art, wisdom it,
Yeah.
you know,
That's so cool.
some way to kind of put them all together so people can understand who I am, but also know at the very end of the day, it's all for love, you know? Yeah.
That's awesome. And I love hearing that kind of side because there's so many negative sides that we hear. And like, I feel like we don't hear enough about the positive.
Yeah.
And so what was the first time that you realized that some people like may look down on your religion or how, like who you are?
I think I gotta be, you know, a couple months after 9/11, gotta be, you know?
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm unfortunately blessed to be able to have a black skin where I can walk in a grocery store with a scarf like this and they'll just assume it's fashion. You
Yeah.
know, they're not going to think like bomb. They're not going to think, you know, and I hate to be, you know, so vulgar with that, but that's really and truly the reality. I mean, that's not an exaggeration.
Right.
I have Arab friends who literally have considered taking it off because of their own safety, just being followed. They're driving around and they're being followed by a man several blocks and they're a woman and they're like, what am I going to do? Because they're not bad people. There's religions. I don't think that religions are bad unless it specifically promotes something that's
Yeah.
bad. But there are bad people who just really and truly just came from bad circumstances and chose to make bad decisions. Unfortunately, they're claiming that this is the reason why. And so it's something that the people of my religion are still trying to continuously
Yeah.
fight and prove differently. But I think just after 9/11, I mean, I remember I was in 5th grade. I remember my teacher literally stopping class, turning on the news. And before that day, I remember telling people I was Muslim and they were like, I've never even heard of that religion before.
Really?
And it's the second biggest religion in the world. It's actually the fastest growing religion. But yes, I remember, and of course I'm in 5th grade, so all they all really know growing up is what, you know, Christianity. I mean, I think it's the most common it is the most common religion here in America. So, people didn't even question my religion until then. They were like, I've never even heard about this religion. So,
Wow.
yeah, that was really the beginning for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think that like the actions of a few people, call them radicals?
Yeah.
Why do you think those actions of those few people blanket an entire religion for some people?
Now, this is only my perception. The only thing that I can possibly think of is that I feel like we feel as if we understand things better when we can label it.
Yeah.
When we can put them in a box, when we can say, okay, this is what it looks like, this is what it means, you
Yeah.
know? But really, it's not always black and white. It truly, truly isn't. Like I said again, I'm living and breathing an example of someone who was born Muslim. Lindsay Lohan just converted to Islam.
I saw that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So there, you know, it just goes to show that the person's intentions is really the defining, you know, factor, whether I don't even want to say good Muslim, but I'm just saying like you're an example and I'm responsible for myself. They're responsible for themselves. I have no idea why that, because of who they were or because of the actions that they did that were so horrible, allowed them to get this label, you
Yeah.
know, because on my life, like it truly is just, to me, it only makes sense is that they were like, how are we going to label this person?
Right.
But if you think about it, when you see the news every single day, when someone breaks into a house and burns 8 people, and we don't ask what their religion is if the name was Pablo or if
Yeah.
the name was Jimmy. We don't ask, oh, well, what was his religion? You know, only when it's like Mohammed or, you know, Ahmed or, you know, something that sounds like it could be associated with terrorism. It's like, and they sometimes, and you know, and you guys, I'm sure if you really listen and you look for it, you'll understand, like, sometimes they don't even have facts yet. They'll just be like, and we're getting word that it is believed to be, associated with a terrorist attack or associated with ISIS. You know, that's just putting a plan to subconsciously in the viewer's mind to make them think that, oh, it's associated with it. Associated is not black and white, honey.
Yeah.
Associated means we're assuming that it may be. We're still doing research on it.
Right.
But
and they should do the research before even coming out with that, because that's very,
news, though.
It's very destructive.
That's news.
It's so
absolutely.
destructive.
And I've interned for big news platforms, and obviously I have a journalism degree, so I understand that that is really what they do for views, because some people literally wake up every day and they're so scared they want to find out. And I'm telling you, what you Google, what you look and what you seek out for, you'll always find. It's just like what they say with boyfriend and girlfriends. Well, if you go through his phone, you gonna find what you're looking for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It really is the same. But if you start to Google for what you really want to find, positivity, if you want to find that, you will find it.
Right.
Yeah, so it really is just a misconception, and unfortunately we have news, they're a business too. They got to make money, they got to get clicks.
I just hate that they make their money and get their views based on tearing down people, you know?
But it's a trend. It's a trend.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned. As these years have gone by since 9/11, I've learned that this is just a #1 trend in America, and unfortunately, it ain't died down anytime soon. It's even resulted in half of the country voting for someone who wants to ban Muslims. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate. I mean, that alone obviously is a completely other, brand new conversation that we could go on. But yeah, because it's just like, to me it's so dumb to like look at this way when the terrorism could also be coming from this way, but because you're so focused on this, you're never gonna see. I mean, come on now. If they were smart enough, they could, you know, people who are bad people can also be. I don't know. I don't want to, like, you know, tear people down, but I just feel like if you really wanted to do something bad, you could use someone that isn't expected to do that thing that's bad, you know? So it's just, I think it's just so, it's a failed strategy to kind of pinpoint one group of people who haven't really proven anything to you, you know? But because I think when people are so scared, they're just like, listen, let's just take that whole thing away. But time will show them that even when you do that, if you literally kicked all of us out of the country too, harm is still going to happen in America. You know what I mean? Like, it's inevitable. But
that's actually kind of leading to the next question I was going to ask you.
Okay.
What do you think? I mean, this is kind of a big question, so if you can't fully answer it, I understand.
Okay.
What do you think the president might need to do in order to kind of
that's a great question.
to make up for some of the things that he said about your religion? You know what I'm saying? Like, he
Dakota,
said
that's
so many things that have torn down the name of.
I've never thought of that. So what could he do to make? And honestly, there's a quote which a lot of us follow, regardless of what religion you're in. How are you supposed to want God to forgive you if you can't forgive others? So I know for a fact, we want it to go away. We would love for him to wake up one morning and say, you know what, I was wrong. I apologize. You are all welcome back in this country. I honestly feel like it may be as easy as that. Just because I think he's created a brand that's so insensitive. To see him be sensitive for even 2 seconds on CNN, which probably wouldn't be CNN because it's fake news. But Fox or whatever, any sort of platform, if he were to go and, you know, genuinely look the camera in the eye and say, I want to start over, I think it would be as easy as that. Because the thing is, I don't know why they're not broadcasting all of the masjids, all of the mosques, all of the preachers, you know, the imams, like I spoke of, all of the Muslim activists who are trying to get on those big platforms and say, listen, let me be an example. We do not stand with ISIS. We do not agree with these people. But they're not being given those platforms.
No.
So how would the public know, you know?
I feel like with Trump, I hate the word because it's so, you know, like, even just saying it's like, I know it carries a lot of weight. I think even if he just sat down and said something like you mentioned, or he has like a board of people, have a Muslim come on, be on the board.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
show that, we need to represent everyone in America. He says he's for all people, and he needs to kind of prove that in a sense and be like, yes, I want someone like that on my board, and I need to work with them very closely and realize that not all of them are going to be doing what I think that they are.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly. And I think that there's even other political geniuses and Barack Obama being one, but just other people in politics who have definitely said, there are personal, like even Hillary Clinton, I think there was some person who was close to her who was a Muslim, and she was like, listen, truly, if you were to give them a chance and create an alliance with them, it would only make it better. But pushing them away,
It's going to make things tense.
Yeah, it's going to make things tense. Exactly. So, I don't know. Like I said, I really feel like time will tell. Yeah.
I know it's kind of it is one of those things where it kind of stinks when you're waiting and you wish everything could be solved like right now.
Right.
And unfortunately with social media for one.
Oh, that right.
It blankets everything and makes it all, like you said, it kind of puts it all in a box and puts it on a shelf and is like, this is what you're getting.
Right. And it still creates that trend. It's trending. So it's like, this is all we understand,
right. Exactly. And one of those things that also I want to briefly touch on is how have you personally been affected by misinformed people? Like specific instances. Has anyone, like once you've said, hey, I am a Muslim, have they reacted in a certain way that wasn't...
Well, yeah, I've actually had one of my really close friends from middle school decided to stop being my friend. She asked me a lot of questions about religion. Sometimes I'm not the biggest Muslim, super religious, so I had to go to my mom, have my mom speak with her, and I think that she bought into the lie, unfortunately, so much that there was nothing I could tell her. And also another friend in college did the same thing, so... I just feel like, just like any instance, if a friend ends up leaving you, they weren't meant to be your friend in the first place. So I gotta let that go, and like I said, time will tell. Like, I don't have to be the one to prove it to them. Like, they're gonna see it. Like, God's gonna allow them to see it. To be honest, yeah, I can't do everything.
I know, exactly, and I know it must feel like a weight, because you feel like I need to be doing things, but I think being the positive influence that you is doing a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much, because that's really it. Like, even doing an interview, I'm just one representation. I can't represent a whole religion.
Like just like I can't represent the entire Christian religion, because I know a lot of times people now associate Christianity with hate. It's like a big deal right now. Oh, you're a Christian. Oh, you must hate these people and these people, which I hate, because it kind of hate.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? I strongly dislike how they try to put everyone in boxes.
Yeah, and it's the same even for us too, and not just from the outside, but even from the inside, where we put so much pressure, like, oh, well, if you're Muslim, then this is what perfection is, and you don't meet that, so you're clearly not Muslim. You're gay, so you're clearly not Muslim. You know, just all of these your requirements, and that's what pushes people away from religion in the first place, is no acceptance but no love. How can you say it represents love but you tell people that you're not good enough? So
exactly. And I guess, what do you have to say to any closed-minded people who might be watching?
Ooh, okay, give me a chance. I guess I don't know. You know what, closed-mindedness is never going to help you thrive and learn. It's only going to take an open heart to understand the lifestyle that I live, but also to learn to grow yourself. I just think if you keep yourself in a box, you're never going to explore what a beautiful world, regardless of religion. How can you travel the world and appreciate different beautiful things that the universe provides if you're going to keep yourself closed, And you're limiting yourself, really. As a closed-minded person, you're limiting yourself. So I hope you give me a chance, in the sense of, I hope that you allow me to be an example, and really genuinely see that I am an example of a Muslim. Period. I mean, what you see on the news is not always real news. Sometimes it is fake news. So,
Exactly. And I love how you are using your social media platform, your presence in the entertainment industry, even here at AfterBuzz, to show everyone. And I feel like it's awesome that you're using all of your outlets to, like, make it a positive place in the
Oh,
world.
thank you so
yes.
much. And you too. I love that you even care to broadcast this and give me this platform and my word, this platform. So I appreciate you too, Dakota. I love you.
I love you.
I know. I'm sorry.
We just like totally.
I know. We
totally.
totally.
Okay, but before we wrap up, any upcoming projects, plans, goals, anything
Oh,
like
goodness.
that?
I always have things coming up. Right now I'm doing Queen Boss on AfterBuzz, so you guys can
Awesome.
definitely watch that. It's actually talking about female entrepreneurs, specifically African American female entrepreneurs. If you love Shark Tank, you would love that show.
That's
and
cool.
we're talking about that. You know what? Just follow me at Kalima Music Art Wisdom. You'll see all of the things that I have going on. You know, it's a never-ending life in LA.
Yes,
so
exactly.
you
There's a
never
lot of
know.
exciting things happening. in
Yeah.
LA. And lastly, I do want to show this last photo of you. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. This black and white photo of you. I just can't wait to see your journey and more of what's going to happen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes.
I love keeping up
I
with
love
you.
this picture too.
I know, right?
Yay!
So thank you so much for joining
Thank
me.
you.
You guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Mr. Dakota T. Jones. You can follow Popcorn Talk on all social media platforms at Popcorn Talk or the Popcorn Talk Network. Just look it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give us a 5-star rating on iTunes if you're listening to us there. Also, make sure to follow Kalima. Again, where can everyone find you one more time?
At Kalima Music Art Wisdom, where pop culture meets wisdom.
All right, and you guys can join us here next week for another episode of Millennials in Hollywood, talking about very personal things that people are passionate about, because sometimes you're just tired of listening to the same questions being asked in interviews. So make sure you tune in, guys. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great night.
Have a good night.
Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network. We would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.